The world's oceans are crammed with discarded plastic waste particles, which are destroying the environment, killing wildlife, and ultimately threatening human health. One refuse truck's worth of plastic is dumped into the ocean every minute, the equivalent of 8 million tons of plastic entering the oceans every year. Leaking from our coasts, it breaks up into small particles, mixing with the plankton at the ocean's surface. Zooplankton consists of the tiny animals that form the base of the marine food chain, and phytoplankton are the minute plants that provide us with more than half the oxygen we breathe. Our oceans keep us alive. But it's not just the oceans that are suffering. In the developing world, many families scavenge on enormous landfill sites comprising an ever-increasing mass of mostly plastic waste, never sorted, never recycled. UK-based Plastic Energy is a world forerunner in the use of end-of-life plastics to create synthetic fuels. We recycle dirty, contaminated, non-recyclable waste plastic, and through a process called thermal anaerobic conversion, known as TAC, transform it into fuel, which has the capability to power a plane. Pilot Jeremy Rousel has proved this with his historic On Wings of Waste flight in Australia.
Well, it's a sign of hope in a very depressing world that at last a mechanism has been found, a way of turning plastic waste into something that can be used and be valuable. We're turning it back into a kind of diesel fuel. Oil produced the plastic, and we now know how we can actually convert the plastic back into a kind of oil which is usable as fuel. And even if that was very expensive indeed, it would be worth doing. But the likelihood is that it's going to come down to a competitive price. And what a splendid way of getting rid of this appalling disease that's spreading around the world and turning it into something useful.
Plastics are heated in an oxygen-free environment to prevent them from burning, and then broken into their component hydrocarbons to create the equivalent of a petroleum distillate. This can then be separated into different fuels. There is no burning of the plastics, but rather a melting process with emissions well below European regulation limits. Our plants are prepared to process all kinds of plastics as well as mixes of various types. The process profitability will vary depending on the plastic mix. We have ambitious but realistic plans for the future. Our scope is international, and we can help local economies and create job opportunities with every plant that we open. We strongly believe that this is the way forward, for the environment, for business and industry, and in the long term, for the health and well-being of our planet.